Hi there, my name is Joe Barton and I am the host of the Fix Blood Sugar webinar. And I just wanted to give you a quick introduction about what that is. So every week on Thursdays at 11 o'clock Central Time, myself and Leslie from our team and Dr. Scott Saunders, a medical doctor from California, we hop on together and we talk about type 2 and blood sugar issues. And we are basically supporting the customers of the Diabetes Solution Kit. And let me give you a little peek at what that looks like. This is it right here. This is the top selling product that we have been selling at Barton Publishing for over 10 years. And this webinar is designed to help support you on your journey of reversing type 2. And so you're watching this on YouTube right now, which is great. But I also wanted to invite you to join us live on Zoom every Thursday at 11 o'clock Central Time, AM. And if you want to do that, go to bartonwebinar.com and just register at the link, and then you'll get an email with the instructions on how to join us in Zoom. And then you can be part of the webinar. You can ask your questions, type them in, and we will get to them at the end of the broadcast or towards the second half of it. But now, anyways, yeah, I wanted to invite you to that. But get ready now for this episode of the webinar, and feel free to like the video, put a comment in there. If you have questions, we will get your questions answered on the following live webinar. And then also click that subscribe button, and you can be notified of every new video that we release, which is every week with the new webinar. And also go back and watch our archives. We've got over 70 webinars that have been recorded and are here on YouTube, and we'd love to have you subscribe. The more information you can learn, the more knowledge that you have about the right strategies for reversing type 2, the better your chances of success. So we're here for you. And now enjoy today's Fix Blood Sugar webinar.
Beautiful.
Good.
Man. Yeah. Well, they say it's gonna get up to 73 degrees today.
Oh, that's perfect.
We're good.
That's like ideal. So, well, I'm excited. I get to see you in Austin, Texas in 2 days from today.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're gonna be in Austin.
Yep, I get to escape the cold for 2 days, and we're gonna have a little Super Bowl party with our health coaching team down there, and that's gonna be fun. Yeah, it'll be a good time. So, also got a fun surprise. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but I got it's something I get to reveal together when we're out there. So that'll be fun. So, anyways, I just remembered to record it, so we're recording. Leslie, you're welcome. Last time I did this solo without Leslie, I forgot to record it, so it never made it onto YouTube. But yes, great stuff. So a little bit of housekeeping here. If you're joining us on YouTube, we post these on YouTube later. And if you're watching on YouTube, I want to invite you to join us live. And you can do that on Zoom, but you have to register at the link on bartonwebinar.com. So go to bartonwebinar.com, click the registration link. Also, anybody here that's watching this, we record these and we post them on our YouTube channel. And that is also linked from bartonwebinar.com, or you can go to YouTube and just search Barton Webinars or webinar, I believe, and it shows up. And we have a Facebook page that you're welcome to join. It's called the 610 Reset, which is part of what Dr. Saunders teaches for helping to reverse type 2. And that is the strategy of stop eating at night by 6 o'clock so that you can go to bed on an empty stomach at 10 p.m. And that really puts your body in repair mode, and it optimizes your creation of human growth hormone, HGH, which puts you into an anabolic state, and all sorts of good things happen when you're sleeping with an empty stomach at 10 o'clock at night, if possible. And if you can't get to bed right at 10, better to go to bed at 11 than at midnight and vice versa. So closer you can get to that, the better. So, Dr. Saunders, today we are going to be talking about sleep apnea. Now, every other week we choose a topic that is related to usually type 2 diabetes. And so We haven't talked a whole lot about sleep apnea, but so we're going to kind of talk about that, as well as taking questions of all the people participating today. Any questions that you have that you would like to hear from Dr. Saunders relating to blood sugar, type 2, sleep apnea, things like that. And we cover all sorts of different things, and love to get your questions. We will be wrapping up at the in about 50 minutes from right now, top of the hour, noon Central Time. And so let's get to it. Dr. Saunders, I guess we always like to talk about the disclaimer, which is good, but then take us from the disclaimer into our topic of the day.
Okay, so the information that we give here is for general use, and it's generally good information for large populations. But like last time we talked about, it may not specifically apply to you. So you have to apply the specific information and say, and ask the question, does that apply to me? Because it might, and for most people, it probably will, but it may not apply to everybody. So if you work with your healthcare practitioner and say, or ask the question, does it apply to me? Or if you specifically know, that's how you properly apply information of any kind, but especially health information like what you get here. So today we're talking about sleep apnea, and I want to tell you how important this information is. It is so important. Sleep apnea is very common. It's not uncommon that a lot of people have it. And as society, as our populations have gotten larger, not just the population growing, but each individual growing in the population, that the incidence of being overweight and obese is dramatically increasing. So we think we're in a pandemic of a virus, and the virus is teensy weensy compared to the pandemic of obesity and sleep apnea in the world, and diabetes, which these are the things we're dealing with. And there is a direct correlation of diabetes to sleep apnea. And so, so I want to emphasize this with all the emphasis that I'm capable of saying, that this is really important. And if you have sleep apnea, even if you suspect you have sleep apnea, if someone says, gosh, you snore loud, and you go, well, I never hear it because I'm asleep. So I never hear myself. And so if people are telling you you snore loudly, and especially if people tell you that you stop snoring and even stop breathing, that's what sleep apnea is. So what is apnea? Well, apnea is not breathing. So you can do apnea. Anybody can do it. Just hold your breath. Okay, that was 10 seconds. That was 5 seconds of apnea. When people have sleep apnea, then during the time that they're sleeping, they'll stop breathing. And it may not be for 5 seconds or 10 seconds. It might be for 40 seconds or a minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes. And here's the problem. So the problem is that there's a normal way of sleeping. There's a sleep pattern that people, they're awake. If you've ever seen if you have an Oura ring, or you've seen a sleep monitor or had a sleep study, then you see the cycle, the graphic way they do it is you're awake. And then like almost immediately when you fall asleep, within 8 minutes of falling asleep, you go into deep sleep. And that's stage 3 or 4. They're changing it. So you go into deep sleep, and you might be in deep sleep for 20 minutes, a half an hour, 40 minutes. And then you wake up all the way for like 1 minute or 2 minutes, and then you're back in deep sleep again for 20 minutes or an hour, and then you wake up, and that might happen 3 or 4 times or 5 times. And so your first 4 hours of sleep from 10 to 2 is deep sleep. What happens during that deep sleep is you are completely like everything is shut down. Everything in your body shuts down. Your brain shuts down. Your not completely, of course, and your heart doesn't completely shut down, but everything just totally relaxes, and you're just completely So what happens when people have, especially a lot of fat in their neck area, then it closes in, and then they stop breathing. So whenever their body completely relaxes, they stop breathing. So how long do you think that they're going to stay asleep? Well, not very long. If every time you get completely relaxed, you stop breathing, then you're going to go, and that's the characteristic kind of thing. But what is that happening? Well, you may not wake up all the way. You might go into slow wave sleep, or you might have a light sleep, or a REM type sleep. But you're not getting deep sleep, because every time you get deep sleep, within a minute or two, you're coming out of it because you're not breathing. So in order to breathe, you have to have a light sleep. So that's why with sleep apnea, people can go in and they can go, oh my gosh, I'm so tired all day long. I sleep 10 hours a day and I still am not rested. When I wake up, I'm still tired. That could be sleep apnea. There's other reasons for it, but that could be sleep apnea, and probably most commonly is. So if you're getting hours of sleep and you're saying, yeah, I'm out all night long. I go to bed at 10, I wake up at 8 a.m. But when I wake up, I'm still groggy and drowsy, and I'm not ready to take on the day. And and then during the day, I take naps. And I've had plenty of people. In fact, one this morning came in with exactly that, sleeping 9 hours a day. And he says, sleeps all night. He's not getting up at night. And then has to take naps during the day. Not always, he says, mostly on weekends, but still, anybody who can sleep that long and still need a nap during the day, there's something wrong. So, this guy has sleep apnea. That is a characteristic thing. Is I'm not rested. So people who sleep, even 6 or 8 hours, if it's more than 6 hours and you're waking up tired, and especially if you're sleepy tired, not like fatigue tired, but sleepy tired, like every time you sit in church or in a meeting or sitting in the car driving, and you start falling asleep, there's something wrong with your sleep.
So you're saying
that's
the preacher's fault?
What's that?
Not always the preacher's fault for putting people to sleep?
Not always. Depends. If everybody's asleep, it's probably the preacher's fault. What happens with sleep apnea? Well, if you're not getting deep sleep, you're not getting rested. Your body's not getting rested. And every time you go for a period of time without breathing and you're not getting any air, then you release what? Adrenaline. And this is like cortisol, adrenaline. These are the hormones that cause us to be in catabolic mode, where we're awake and alert and active. So then you can't get deep sleep. So you can't fall into deep sleep because you have these stress hormones. And what do the stress hormones do? They break down your body all the time. So why do people need knee replacements? I had a guy in this morning that needs knee replacements. At 10 years ago, he needed a knee replacement. So he was 40 years old. And he went to see an orthopedic surgeon. He goes, the only thing we can do is replace your knees or just live with the pain. Why would a 40-year-old need knee replacement? Well, because the repair that happens every night isn't happening. And that's what's a big problem with sleep apnea, is you're not repairing. So probably you've never put together that, boy, if I don't sleep well at night, I'm going to need knee replacement someday, or hip replacement, or shoulders, or, something's going to be breaking down that I'm going to need surgical replacement or repair on. That is a direct correlation. It's not so indirect that if you're not sleeping well, you're not repairing your body at night. See, we get to repair every night while we're in deep sleep. And that's what the 610 reset is. That's how we tell people how to repair. But if you have sleep apnea and you're not getting deep sleep, it doesn't happen. So you're just breaking down. It's like driving your car forever and you never change the tires, you never change the oil. All you do is put gas in it and go, 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 go. How long is your car going to last?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
you're going to have problems with your car. That's what you're doing to your body if you're not repairing it, if you're not doing the maintenance on it every night. So sleep apnea is big. That's how big it is.
Mm-hmm.
And if nobody had sleep apnea and everybody slept all night and did the 6-10 reset, then all the orthopedic surgeons would go out of business. You wouldn't have to have all those surgeries for joint replacements and back pain and all those other issues. So let's put everybody out of business and stay healthy and sleep all night.
Yeah. So what are the traditional treatments right now for sleep apnea? I know about the CPAP machines. Is that the main one, and how do those work?
Have you ever seen a CPAP machine?
Yeah, they're pretty big contraptions, and yeah, interesting. You got to keep them clean. They'll get all
interesting.
Like Darth Vader,
yeah.
Right?
So Darth Vader.
Uh-huh.
So what the CPAP does is you put it over your nose and mouth, and it puts pressure in, and it's not a lot of pressure. It's 5 centimeters of water. It's a small amount of pressure, but all it does is push air into your lungs. So instead of you having to suck it in, it'll push it in so that you don't have to suck it in. So everything stays open. So it kind of puts some pressure in there to keep your throat open so that the air goes into your lungs easily. They have a BiPAP machine that actually pushes and pulls. So it pushes air in when you're breathing, when you're sucking in, and then it pulls it sucks air out as you're letting the air out. So it does like a lot of the work for you. So like the Darth Vader thing. Yeah. And those actually work because you're able to get into deep sleep because you don't stop breathing when you get totally relaxed. That extra little pressure of air that's pushing air into your lungs, it keeps everything open so you can get deep sleep. And I've had many people say, "Boy, what a life changer that was, to be able to sleep all night and to wake up rested and say, wow, I rested and I'm not sleepy all day and doesn't need a nap and, able to function." So that's really good. So the CPAP machines can be very useful. But I look at them as a temporary solution. This CPAP is a great way to get started to decrease the stress hormones and allow you to get good sleep so that you're not stressed all the time, so that you can break that cycle of stress hormones causing your body to break down, and making you insulin resistant and cause you to gain weight. And the more weight you gain, the more sleep apnea you have, the more sleep apnea, the more stress, the more weight you gain. And that ongoing cycle is just a terrible vicious cycle. So somehow you got to break it. And the CPAP machine is one way you can break the cycle. So that's not a bad solution.
How effective are CPAP machines? Does it work for most people or all people, or?
When they're done right, it works for most. I've had several people where it didn't help, and mostly it's because some of them say, you know what, I'm just, if I can't have something on my face, I feel claustrophobic and I can't sleep with something on my face.
Yeah.
And someone else saying, the dumb machine makes so much noise, I can't sleep. So between the noise and the something on your face, I've had people say it doesn't work. Someone else has recently said that he the CPAP machine did help him sleep, but he would wake up at 3:00 in the morning, couldn't get back to sleep with the CPAP machine. So it wasn't any better with the machine.
Yeah.
So the machine, I think, in my own experience, works for most, but I have had several that just couldn't use it.
Yeah. Okay. We had somebody, Eve, actually mention she was diagnosed with sleep apnea about 5 years ago, but none of the devices that she tried worked. She's tried melatonin, that didn't work. And so what's a person like me supposed to do? I do not sleep well. I'm about 15 pounds overweight, but I have a lot of energy and I don't tire easily. Seem to have had this problem since I was in my mid 20s and have never slept very much or very well.
That's a great question. And it's not necessarily an easy answer, but there are really good ways of handling this. So if you can find a sleep physical therapist, there are physical therapists that specialize in sleep. Most physical therapists are PhDs. They're doctor of physical therapy, and they have a lot of education, a lot of school, and if they're really good with sleep apnea, what they do is they teach you how to use your muscles and build the right muscles so that you can keep your airway open. So sometimes it's a muscular thing. People who are a little overweight, the average losing 30 pounds is enough for 90% of people with sleep apnea to no longer have sleep apnea. And that makes a big difference. For what?
You said last week, even losing just like 3 to 5 pounds can make a big difference in your sleep.
Oh yeah. Losing a few pounds. So the one that you were just talking about that was 15 pounds overweight, losing those 15 pounds might make all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
That might just fix the problem. Because 15 pounds, you say that's not that much.
Yeah.
That's not very much overweight, but still it can make the difference, even the 15 pounds. So yes, even I've had people lose 3 to 5 pounds. In fact, the guy this morning that had sleep apnea, he had tried a ketogenic diet and lost 20 pounds. And he said he slept better and didn't have sleep apnea just from that. So losing weight is one. Physical therapy, building the right muscles is another one. Some people, it's positional. They only get sleep apnea when they're on their back or when their head's in a certain position. So if you're sleeping on your back with your head back like that, then you'll tend to cut it off more. And if you sleep on your back with a pillow under you, pushing your chin into your chest, then you might cut off your oxygen and cause sleep apnea. So getting your head with the right pillow in the right position. Most people, it does happen when they're sleeping on their back. So they actually make pajamas with a racquetball inside in a pocket in the back. So that it's really uncomfortable to be on your back, so you can't roll over on your back. So you sleep on your side, and if you roll over on your back, there's a lump there, so you'll just continue rolling over to your other side, and then you're never sleeping on your back, so you don't have sleep apnea. I've had that work. I have a patient, one that I know of, who is still doing that because he didn't have any weight to lose, and it only happened when he was sleeping on his back. So he got the shirt with a pocket right in the middle of his back and has a little racquetball in there, and it works for him. And his wife says it works for him. He sleeps all night and he's fine. So, it could be that simple.
So there's a device called the Zipa that you may have heard advertisements for. I think it's something that you put in your mouth, which I don't know if I'd be able to sleep with that, but does something like that work? Or I think that might be more for snoring, but I don't know if there's
Well, that's the next thing. Yeah, it does work for sleep apnea as well. You can go to a dentist and you get these mouth guards fitted in, and they hold your jaw forward so your jaw doesn't go back and shut off your blood supply. So they just hold your jaw in a position where it prevents it from when you go into deep sleep and everything relaxes from your jaw going in. That works for a lot of people, and it has an added benefit, and that is it's when you have those mouth guards in, where it's actually kind of holding your teeth together, your jaw up to your upper teeth so that they can't slip back. You can't breathe through your mouth, so people who are mouth breathers often have more problems with sleep apnea. And so that mouth guard has the double effect of, number one, preventing your jaw from falling back, and number two, from mouth breathing. So it forces you to breathe through your nose. There's a book called Breath. The author is Nestor. And it talks about breathing and different research, and they did their own research. And he recommends taping your mouth closed, a little bit of duct tape over your mouth at night so that you don't breathe through your mouth, because it does make a difference in your sleep quality, sleep patterns, and of course, sleep apnea too.
Interesting. Yeah. So tying this into type 2 diabetes, a lot of that you mentioned weight loss and obesity is a factor. And so is there any other connection besides the excess weight from diabetes that causes?
Oh, yeah. And this is huge. So remember that sleep apnea doesn't allow you to get restful sleep, and you're creating more stress hormones. Well, cortisol makes you resistant to insulin. And that insulin resistance is what creates the diabetes or makes it worse if that's what you have. So when you're not sleeping, when you have sleep apnea, you're much more likely to get diabetes and insulin resistance type 2 than if you don't have sleep apnea, just because of that added stress hormone making you insulin resistant. Yeah, big deal.
Today's Fixed Blood Sugar webinar is sponsored by CinnaChroma, our best-selling advanced blood sugar support formula. Now, thousands of people around the world are taking CinnaChroma every day as part of their program to fix their blood sugar using natural ingredients that simply work. Now, Dr. Saunders formulated CinnaChroma to meet key nutritional deficiencies that most people have unknowingly suffered from for far too long. With CinnaChroma, you get a blend of 6 key ingredients: the perfect combination of chromium, vitamin D3, and vitamin K2, which it's important to take those two together, selenium, vanadium, and our 10-to-1 cinnamon bark extract. Now, if you're not already using CinnaChroma, I highly recommend that you give it a try and see how it helps your energy, your weight, and your blood sugar numbers. You can get CinnaChroma at bartonnutrition.com or on Amazon. If you get it at bartonnutrition.com, you can enter the coupon code webinar25 and you'll save 25% off at bartonnutrition.com. But I realize some people like to go to Amazon as well. So anyways, CinnaChroma, highly recommend. Now let's get you back to the Fixed Blood Sugar webinar.
So I went to the chiropractor yesterday, and I go every 3 weeks or so just to stay, keep sharp. I got to keep sharp for all these people on the webinar. But I injured my thumb playing hockey 2 weeks ago, and she was checking it out, and she's like, she does muscle testing and kinesiology, which I find fascinating, just how our body is, all the, how it's connected in so many different ways. But she talked about my thumb, and I hadn't been sleeping too great with the thumb, but it wasn't because my thumb hurt necessarily. But she's like, yep, your thumb is connected to your lungs, and so I wasn't getting enough breath. And then she said, what happens when you touch a hot stove? You go into this reactive, like it's hot. And she said, well, so when you hurt your thumb, your body has been in that state of stress basically, from that injury, and it hasn't gotten unlocked yet. And so she did some things and got it back online, I guess she calls it. But I found that interesting, and I figured there's probably some correlations to that. Like you talked about the cortisol and the stress response, and if you get in that cycle, it's just like you got to do something to stop the cycle, I would imagine. And so it's fascinating.
Yeah. So that's where you have CPAP machine, weight loss, the dental appliance, physical therapy, or that thing in your back. The pocket in your back. Those are the things that can help out. And I think the best long-term solution is losing weight, and the physical therapy. So you build the muscles, lose the weight. Those would seem to me are the best long-term solutions for sleep apnea, which will really improve diabetes as well.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. Some people might be joining us for the first time, and this is the Diabetes Solution Kit from Barton Publishing that we've been selling online for like 12 years now, I believe. This is our 9th edition. And this talks about how to reverse type 2, basically, how to get your blood sugar, A1Cs into normal ranges, losing the weight, the excess weight, and all that kind of stuff. So if you don't have a copy of this yet, you can get this at bartonwebinar.com is where we link to all of the different products that we talk about. So get a copy of this, but a lot of people that are already on here have a copy of this. And so, but let's talk about how to lose weight, and because that's so important and it's all connected with type 2 diabetes. So talk a little bit about our program.
Okay, so weight loss requires one thing. There's a huge mistake that people make, that you can exercise to lose weight. And if you ever watch The Biggest Loser on TV, and they have these very obese people, morbidly obese people trying to lose weight, and they get their physical therapists out there, and they're pedaling their stationary bikes, and the physical therapists are like, "Come on, you idiot, go faster! You're never going to lose weight at that speed." And if you look at how many calories they're burning, it's in the single digits or maybe double digits. It is so few. And if you've ever said, like, one time I was in a CrossFit class, and the CrossFit instructor, the coach, said, "Yeah, go over to that rowing machine and burn 100 calories." And I'm like, 100 calories? That's one apple. I could burn 100 calories in 5 minutes. So I go on the rowing machine and I put it on hard, and I'm pulling and I'm pulling, and it's counting. It's counting like 1, and then 2, and then it's like, oh my gosh, 50 calories. I was burned out. I could not row anymore. I did make it to 100, but I had to put it on easy and then row more times on the easier level, because man, burning calories by exercise is really hard. So I looked it up. Do you know what it takes to burn 1 pound of fat? 1 pound, just one.
I do. We've talked about this. We'll run a marathon.
Yeah, run a marathon, about 30 miles.
Wow.
25 to 30 miles is what it takes, depending on your weight. So think about that. If you want to burn 1 pound of fat a day, all you have to do is run a marathon every day, and you'll be good. And the amount of exercise it takes to burn fat is so incredible. And that's why you cannot lose weight by exercise. You can't do it. Of course, you need exercise. I'm not saying don't exercise. I'm saying don't think that you're burning calories while you're exercising. That's not the issue. All weight is lost by diet. It's all based on your diet. There's no other way. It's not about calories out, because calories out is your metabolism. You're doing that all day long. You're going to burn 2,500 calories, 3,000 calories a day, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And you can lay in bed and burn that much. That's not the issue. The issue is, how much are you taking in? And if you're taking in more than that, then you're going to store it. And so how many calories you're taking in is the big deal. The best way to look at that then is, what am I eating? And if you look at food as calories, and how many concentrated calories do you have? So for example, if you have pizza is pure calories, carbohydrates, fat, protein. There's nothing else in it. There's nothing but carbohydrates, fat, protein. So if you have a little teeny slice of pizza, okay, you're getting extra calories. But if you eat half a pizza, oh my gosh, that's huge. That's more than you can burn in a whole day. Yeah. Whereas if you're eating things that have a lot of fiber in them, for example, then you're getting a lot of bulk that doesn't have a lot of calories in it. So you can still eat a lot. In fact, people who eat high fiber diets, if you're eating 40 grams of fiber a day, it's easy to get 40 grams of carbohydrates, really easy. It's easy to get 40 grams of fat. It's easy to get 40 grams of protein, but it's hard to get 40 grams of fiber. Just try counting. 1 apple is 4 grams. 1 banana, 3 grams. Broccoli, two broccoli spears, a half a cup of broccoli is about 3 grams. So if you think, oh yeah, these are high fiber, right? High fiber. Well, you're talking 5 grams. Beans, a half a cup of beans can be up to 9 grams.
Mm-hmm.
So getting 40 grams is not going to be like, oh, I'll just eat a salad. No, your salad is like 4. You need 10 salads to make 40, right?
Right.
So if you bulk up with a lot of fiber, that's one way to decrease the carbohydrates, fat, and protein. There are various ways of doing it. What we chose to do, because people are so overloaded with carbohydrates, we chose in the diabetes solution kit to do a ketogenic diet. And that's 20 grams of carbohydrates a day. So if you count 20 grams of carbohydrates a day, you'll realize that's not enough food. That's like one apple, and that's your 20 grams of carbohydrates for a whole day. A couple slices of bread, and you're done. And so you can see that's a very tiny amount, very small amount of carbohydrates. It's not enough. It's not going to make enough sugar for you to burn all day long. So what are you going to have to do if you're doing that? Well, you're going to have to start using up that extra fat that you've been storing. And if you do that, what happens? Your hemoglobin A1C comes down. You're using up fat, so your insulin resistance improves. You're losing weight during that time because you're pulling off the fat. And multiple studies have shown that that's exactly what happens. So people who stick to the diet, and we've had thousands of examples. People write to us all the time of yeah, I started on this. I tried everything, and then I started on this program, and for the first time, I was able to lose weight. And the reason is because the insulin will start dropping down, because fat doesn't cause you to make insulin. Mm-hmm. I will give one little caveat there, and that is a lot of people eat too much protein. They take out the carbs, they add in protein. Mm-hmm. It's better to take out the simple sugars and add in fiber. So what has fiber? Well, things that are natural, like nuts and seeds, beans, peas, lentils, broccoli, vegetables. Well, you got to be careful with fruit. Some fruits are fine, like avocados are great, and cucumbers and peppers. So those kind of low, and tomatoes, those low sugar fruits, those are fine. They have vitamin C. They have everything a growing body needs, and they have a lot of fiber. So if you take out the starches and simple sugars and add in more complex carbohydrates, that'd be the best way to do it. And so that's what we do. That's what this program is about.
Yeah.
That's how you lose weight.
Yep. So before we get into the questions here, we've got several that have come in, and I want to make sure we have plenty of time to get to those. Could you talk quick about metabolism and age? Like, does aging cause slower metabolism, or what's going on? Did you hear about that?
That's a great question. The answer is aging does nothing. Getting old is nothing. Getting old, we say, oh, I'm just getting old, that's why my joints hurt. Or I'm just getting old, that's why I don't have the strength that I used to have. I don't have the stamina I used to have. My metabolism is slower because I'm getting old. That's not an answer. That is not a reason. It's actually the other way around. Because we're not exercising as much, we get old. Because we're not doing as much, we get old. Because we're not eating as well, we get old. Because we're sitting around more, we get old. So I used to work construction, and construction, it's hard. I was a carpenter. I was jumping up on 4-story buildings and climbing all over everything, and pounding nails all day and pulling things off, demolition, all that stuff. It's really hard work. It's hard physical labor, and you get injured all the time. There's a blood sacrifice required on every job. And but so as you get older, is what the old carpenters do. They go, I can't do that anymore. So they hire young guys to go up and do all the pounding the nails and everything, and they run the jobs. Well, what's happening? Well, they're more sedentary. They're sitting at a desk, going over plans instead of jumping up and doing all the work. I have met a lot of older carpenters who are in their 60s, even 70s. One in his 90s, who was still actually very spry and active, and just kept working. And they still had plenty of energy.
Yeah, good. You're breaking up a little bit there. The Slack was kind of like making you look robotic a little bit, but now you're back, it looks like. So we got the
Thank goodness.
All right,
I hate it when I get robotic.
Yeah. We're going to start going through some of these questions here, a little bit of rapid fire. So John says, my feet sweat during the day, but are very dry at night. What do you or what's going on there?
Feet sweat during the day, dry at night. Okay, that sounds like an autonomic nervous system dysfunction. That could be a beginning of neuropathy. If you have type 2 and you have that kind of an issue, then it might be that the blood vessels and the nervous system is not managing the circulation very well. So when your feet warm up during the day, or you're on your feet and you're the blood vessels are enlarging and you're getting fluid out of them and heat and sweating. Whereas at night your feet are up, then the blood vessels shrink down and everything dries up and cracks. So that might be a beginning of neuropathy. We have something called Nervala. It's an alpha lipoic acid. That's what the ALA and Nervala is. Alpha lipoic acid and benfotiamine combination. And that may help. That may actually make a big difference just doing that. But one of the keys is making sure your blood sugars are well controlled and that your insulin resistance goes down so that you can repair those nerves.
Yeah. So two things I'd recommend, John, is CinnaChroma, which is our best-selling blood sugar support formula that has cinnamon, chromium, vitamin D, vitamin K, selenium, and vanadium in it. We've got thousands of people that are on our monthly subscribe and save program with that. But also this Nervala is specifically like what Dr. Saunders says for nerve pain, neuropathy, numbness, tingling, circulation issues like that, and all sorts of things. So if you go to bartonwebinar.com, you can get, you can see the links to our products. And then also, because you're watching the webinar, you get a 25% coupon code if you just enter in the coupon webinar25. So, and that's on the Barton Nutrition Store or anywhere. So that's kind of our gift to you for being a part of the webinar. So, again, the website is bartonwebinar.com. So, all right. Speaking of CinnaChroma and Nervala, Catman had a question. He's been taking CinnaChroma and Nervala one time per day for over a year, but his A1C recently was 7.2, up from 6.8, but he stopped taking metformin. Not been able to exercise as much as I used to. He's following the 6-10 reset. Metformin definitely causes me to be dizzy and foggy. So what should I change?
Okay, diet. So what you're talking about is all about food. So looking at what you're doing with your food. If you're doing the phase 1 program in the diabetes solution kit, then do phase 1 and be very careful about counting and making sure you're not getting extra carbohydrates. So cutting out carbohydrates is a great way to do it. And when you do that, then you should get your insulin down and start losing weight.
The other thing you've talked about a lot in the past is just watching out for artificial sweeteners or even like natural sweeteners. Anything sweet can cause your insulin spike to go up and affects everything else.
Yeah, that can sabotage all of your good efforts. I had somebody who she was ready to cry once because she'd done 2 weeks of bone broth and only lost 4 pounds. And I told her she'd lose about a pound a day. And she was so upset and so discouraged because she was just putting 4 drops of stevia in herbal tea. And it just completely blocked her from burning fat. So yeah, good call.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a list of what times the organs renew during the night? You know, talk about going to sleep by 10 o'clock at night. And I know there's a circadian rhythm chart or something like that.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of cool charts. The problem is they don't apply to everybody. And so the best thing that seems to apply to everybody is the timing. So if you're asleep by 10 o'clock, then you have a spike, and it's only 10 minutes. It's a very short spike from your pituitary gland of human growth hormone. And then it drops down, and that initiates the anabolic process, which has a whole bunch of anabolic hormones, ghrelin from your stomach, testosterone, all the anabolic hormones, human growth hormone the human growth hormone initiates all the other hormones. And then all of the other processes of what the immune system does while you're asleep is cleaning up. It's taking out all the bad cells and all the bad proteins and everything. So it's not just like one organ repairs at this time, another organ repairs at this time. I know I've seen those charts. It's really the timing. The important thing is that if you're asleep by 10 with an empty stomach, then you get the human HGH spike, and then that initiates a more long-term, over the next several hours, initiates the repair of everything in your body, brain, liver, everything.
I've noticed too, like if I go to bed earlier and I'm sleeping by 10, like I oftentimes will wake up at like 4 or 5 and like be ready to go. And I'm like, I shouldn't be this energized, but a lot of times that's really all you need, right? Like if you get great sleep, that might be, ready to go.
The only way you can tell if you've got enough sleep is if you're not tired during the day. So if you go all day long and you don't need a nap, and you're not sleepy, and you're not falling asleep while you're driving, and not falling asleep in meetings, then you've had enough sleep. That's the only way you can tell. The hours don't work.
Okay. So Lynn says, I'm on week 3 of phase 1. First week, I lost 10 pounds and 110 points off my blood sugar. That's awesome, Lynn. Nice job. But no change since. So what do I need to check?
Okay. What was the first part? What was she eating?
So she's on week 3 of phase 1. She lost 10 pounds the first week, but kind of stuck.
Week 3 of phase 1. Okay. So knowing what your numbers are, no change in because so you don't always lose weight in a consistent pattern. You usually lose it pretty quickly and then stop, and then you lose it some more and then stop. There's more like a stair-step pattern that most people see with losing weight. And that's the way kids grow too. They grow in it. They don't grow gradually. They grow fast and then not at all, and then fast and not at all. When we lose weight on a program like this, it's the same kind of thing where I've had people on practically fasting diets, things like a bone broth, and they'll lose weight and they'll be going, great, I'm losing a pound a day, and then they'll go several days without losing any weight. And they're not eating anything at all, really. They're just getting some bone broth. And it's still a stair-step pattern. So that's not unusual. But of course, look at any sweeteners in your diet, any excess carbohydrates, anything that's that can raise your insulin. Another thing to look at would be protein. Protein can raise your insulin, remember? So don't increase your protein just because you're not eating carbohydrates. So eating a carnivore diet is not part of the program.
Yeah. Okay, so our friend from Nigeria, on the 610 reset, will it be advisable to take in liquid at night? Because because I work best at night and stay up late into wee hours. It's going to be hard if you're staying up late to be in bed at 10 o'clock.
Yeah. And at the end of the wee hours, they did research on nurses that work nights. They did research on police officers, shift workers, and people who work nights don't get anabolic during the time that they're working nights. So you have to work with what you can. I do have someone who's working nights that we put him on his intermittent fasting is the best way to deal with that. And that is to have an empty stomach for more hours during the day. So he only has a 5-hour window of eating. And that seems to work okay, because during the fasting time, you do release ghrelin, but it's not the same. It's not the same. You don't rebuild your body when you're working nights. That's a problem.
All right. Lynn asks, what are your thoughts on chiropractic helping with compromised blood flow, etc.? It's not just chiropractic, but osteopaths. The chiropractors look at the nervous system when they're doing their back adjustments. Osteopathic physicians look at the circulatory system and essentially do the same things, but they look at it from a different point of view of the same process of adjusting the spine to allow the blood to flow properly instead of like pinched nerves and things. So I think chiropractic is fine to help blood flow. I think blood flow is really important, and a lot of the issues that human beings have of health and some of the things we talked about, like back pain, neck pain, fibromyalgia, chronic pain, shoulder pains, knee replacements, hip replacements, a lot of them have to do with a lack of circulation. So if you can get an adjustment and improve the circulation, that's fine. Acupuncture also works. Heat, Epsom salt baths. We have magnesium oil. You can spray on the magnesium oil, dilates the blood vessels. There's a lot of ways you can do that. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Sita had a good question here, if I can find it. Okay. Trying to find the root of my high blood sugar. I don't have a weight issue. How do I know if it's fatty liver or pancreas? I eat properly, but it could be untimely eating habits.
Definitely could be untimely eating habits, but look at stress too. Stress causes insulin resistance, which makes your blood sugar go up when you eat. There's another thing that's almost hidden that nobody talks about, and that is, especially for some people, saturated fats cause insulin resistance, and it doesn't require you to be obese. And there's a lot of, or more research being done now on that. Why people who aren't obese but have their blood sugar starts going high, but even when they're in like the early phases of it, they already have problems like with neuropathy and heart disease and kidney disease. And so saturated fats could be a big cause of that. So look at your diet.
What are the main sources of saturated fats that we consume?
Fat, as in like pork fat, beef, meat, those fats, and then coconut oil is saturated fat, palm kernel oil, and then butter, cream, those kinds of things.
Okay, but coconut oil generally is good for you, right? With the omega balance. Or
not if you have that kind of an issue. If you're saturated fat, if you're sensitive to it and it's causing insulin resistance, you really, there is, we talked about this a little last time, about how it's not that everybody has to be on this ketogenic diet and can eat all the saturated fat they want. Some people are going to need to be completely fat free, and you can have like carbs. You can eat all the apples and oranges and bananas and watermelon, but you can't have any meat or or fish or eggs or anything with saturated fat in it. So yeah, so for some people, that's going to be an issue.
Yep. All right. Well, we've only got a minute left. So somebody had asked about Super Bowl weekend is coming up here. We got the big game, and that typically means lots of food around. You got any advice for minimizing damage on Super Bowl Sunday?
Enjoy yourself. And let me tell you this, stress is so much more important than food. Don't fixate and focus so much on the food. It's important. Eat good food, eat right. And the reason why we give such careful things about food is because that's the issue of, how are you going to reverse this process of diabetes and weight loss and all of that kind of stuff. And this is how you're going to do it with food. But for heaven's sakes, when you're having a party, it's okay. That's taking time off and enjoying yourself and not sitting around going, oh, all I can have is this low calorie meatball. That's if you're not having fun and you're going to stress out, the stress is worse. Just saying.
Yeah. And the Super Bowl is only once a year, thankfully, but yeah, that's right. So enjoy yourself, and the nice thing is you can repair yourself with the 6-10 reset the next day. You can fast on Monday, Super Bowl Monday, just don't eat, or just eat a salad, and your body will repair itself. So
you know what, that works. You can do that. And Sachin Panda did research on that. People can eat junk food diets and live on donuts and stuff and then fast and clean it all out, because what the cleansing process in the body happens while you're fasting. So, I don't know, it worked for the rats.
Yeah. Hello. Okay, today's Fix Blood Sugar webinar is sponsored by Easy Relief Magnesium Spray. Now, this is fast absorbing magnesium that is a topical spray that you spray on your skin. And it is vital for over 300 functions in your body. Now, the nice thing about this magnesium is, first of all, you don't have to ingest it, so you can't take too much of this. Your skin is great at absorbing only what it needs. So you spray about 30 to 50 sprays of this per day, and I personally do it 2 to 3 times a day of 10 to 15 sprays, and I do it on my chest and my legs typically. And this is going to correct the deficiencies that most people have. Now, how do you know if you need magnesium? Usually the symptoms are you have muscle cramps, trouble sleeping, if you're fatigued, if you have erratic blood sugar, if you experience any type of numbness or tingling, or if you feel down in the dumps or feeling blue. Now, those are all different types of symptoms that a lot of times magnesium can help with. So highly recommend this product of Easy Relief Magnesium. It is super easy. You spray it on. You don't have to take a pill or anything like that, and you don't have to worry about absorbing too much. This absorbs quickly. Now, this will get into your body in less than 2 minutes, into the bloodstream and circulating through. So it's a lot faster than if you take a pill with magnesium in it. So it's super important for metabolism, metabolic function. If you have insulin resistance, magnesium will probably help with that. There's a connection between low magnesium and insulin resistance. It's great for relaxation and sore muscle relief. It helps you sleep. Great for muscle cramps and achy joints. There's no sticky residue. So a lot of times if you find a different magnesium spray, it's not bonded with water like this process has done. So this doesn't leave a sticky residue at all. So it's great. It doesn't sting. It improves your mood. And there's just all sorts of different, again, there's 300 different functions that magnesium is used in the body. Highly recommend it. It's 365-day guarantee, just like anything. You can get it at bartonnutrition.com. And if you want to save 25% in addition to our already discounted prices, use this coupon code webinar25 as a coupon code. Again, that's at bartonnutrition.com and Easy Relief Magnesium. Highly recommend it. Dr. Saunders approved. It's all natural and safe. Get yours today. All right, thanks. Now back to the webinar.
All right. Well, hey, this was a great call. Thanks for hopping on. My apologies that we started a little bit late today. Leslie's out on vacation on a beach in Florida, having some good time with her family. So, but I think we recorded it and we answered most of the questions. If you still have questions, please come into our Facebook 610 Reset group. And then also, you can also watch previous recordings that we have on YouTube where I think this is our 77th edition or whatever now. So, and Dr. Saunders had to go, but yeah, find us on YouTube. You can see all the different webinars that we've recorded, a lot of different questions answered. And hey, I just want to thank you guys again too for giving us testimonials that you guys have had for your experiences overcoming blood sugar issues and diabetes and all things related to that. We had over 20 really great, amazing testimonials. And so we love to get those from you guys. I share those with our team, and our team is all about helping people and helping you guys. So again, the Diabetes Solution Kit, if you don't have a copy of this, this is kind of like our blood sugar Bible in a sense. It's got all sorts of different things, recipes, the eating guide, the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, lots of educational information in there. And then also we do have a supplement line that Dr. Saunders has formulated. And Dr. Saunders is not real big into supplements necessarily, but he is into meeting nutritional deficiencies. And a lot of times we don't get the right nutrients in our food. Our soil has been depleted over time. A lot of the minerals are not nearly to the level that they should be. For example, magnesium. Almost everybody is deficient in magnesium. And so we have this product. It's called Easy Relief Magnesium. It's a spray, a topical spray. I use this all the time, but like 85% or more of Americans are deficient in magnesium. And magnesium is necessary in over 300 bodily functions. And so if you're deficient in magnesium, there's all sorts of things that can go wrong. And so a lot of times simply using supplements, for example, like magnesium, can make a big difference. And so someone commented how they can't afford some of the supplements, but the cost of your health, I understand that these can be expensive, but at the same time, how much is it worth to have good health? And a lot of times, if you can get your brain functioning better and your body is feeling better, like how much is that worth? That's just worth so much. And so we do our best to try to keep our supplements at an affordable cost for most people. And, there's other things you can do. Like Dr. Saunders talks about eating healthy and all the different foods, and your body is amazing. There's a Bible verse I like. It says we are beautifully and wonderfully made. I don't know if beautifully is the right word. It's something like that. But the older I get, the more I realize that we really are fascinating beings, and we are valuable and created in the image of God. And so that's really one of the missions of Barton Publishing and Barton Nutrition, is to help you guys to get your bodies functioning in the right way, in the way that God intended. And so that's our prayer for you guys. And we love to connect with you guys. And so we'll be back here next Thursday at 11 a.m. Central Time, Lord willing. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for asking your questions. Appreciate all your comments and feedback. And again, if you want to learn more about who we are or watch other webinars and all that, just go to bartonwebinar.com. And if you're watching the recording, you can register to join us live as well on Zoom, and you can get your own questions answered on your journey, which is awesome. And so I don't know anybody else that's offering this type of connection with the doctor for free. And so hope you found it valuable. Thanks for hopping on here, and God bless you guys. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.